So welcome, Paige and Lee. Thank you for coming to us with your coin collection, which I see here is about at least 4.5 feet high. Tell us how you came about the collection, how it originates, and my understanding is it was dispersed in several different parts throughout the house. Tell us about that. This is always interesting to hear.
Sure. So my dad was a collector of many things, believed in future value of items, and whether it was Americana or coins or knickknacks, he would find things of interest and purchase them, whether at shows or yard sales or what have you. As we were growing up, we learned that things that had higher value were not really displayed, but rather tucked away safely in the house, including later to learn inside of a cedar closet, inside hollowed out pieces of 2x4 underneath a bookshelf, just tucked away for safekeeping. I'm sure that's a mentality of an era that people had to keep things safe that were not in the bank. So we didn't find anything under the mattress, but we certainly found plenty of things dispersed through the rest of the house when it was time to sell our family home.
Well, it was very unusual that you didn't find anything under the mattress.
Yes.
I mean, I can tell you stories, and this is, you know, what you're saying is very, very reflective of Depression and post-Depression mentality, where folks accumulated large quantities of something tangible that they could touch and feel and would be captured within their sense of collecting. So you found this in various locales throughout the house, and this is a 1, 2, 3 boxes of 12 by 12 by 16 with a lot of coins. So this is one of the things that your dad put away.
I think those were in a wooden box that my husband found under his workshop. It was in a very simple wooden box. It just looked like a block. And my mother was like, oh, throw it out, because it just looked like a big wood block, like a footstool or something. And my husband was like, knew my father, and finally figured out how it was like a puzzle box to open, and some of those were in there.
So this box, is already interesting. Each of these is a silver round, and it says right here, 0.999 silver, 1 troy ounce. And you have 15, 20. So 20 of these times 30 bucks is how much? 500?
Right, yeah.
And 500 times 369 is 4,500. So that was a pretty good find.
Yeah,
So this is just literally
the tip of the iceberg.
pure bullion. This is the tip of the iceberg?
No, I don't know.
Oh, that's good news.
I hope it's good
So
news.
all we need to do now is just check and see if it's genuine. This meter tells you if what you're checking for is true or not true. So am I checking for a piece of gold that's 0.999? No, not in this case. In this case, I want to know if this is 0.999 silver. Now it tells me place the sample of what you're looking for, and we'll tell you if it is 0.999 or not. That there is within the brackets, and so it's saying, yes, this is 0.999 fine silver. So we can assume that the rest of them are. The sort of person who would put this together, wouldn't be trying to fool himself, unless he made the mistake of buying from a dealer who may not have been
Interesting.
entirely reputable.
Where would he have purchased something like this?
From a coin dealer, or from an auction,
Okay.
or online.
Not online. This all predates online.
If it predates online, then he bought this from a bullion dealer or a coin dealer. So one thing that we would do with this is then we check randomly. So we can check every 5 coins or every 10 coins. This group here looks like Morgan silver dollars. So what we're looking for here is whether he collected just silver dollars that are common circulated dollars and the value is contained in their bullion value, or whether this could be a collectible coin in terms of a key date or a better condition. So an 1889 is a pretty common coin. These rim dings here tell me that this pile is possibly something that was accumulated rather than collected for its silver value rather than its collectible value. But having said that, things may still have fallen in here from time to time. So perhaps 20, 30, 40 years ago, something found its way in here, which might have been a higher grade or a key date or a semi-key date, which today has a higher value. Although people equate age and quantity with value, and that's not necessarily the case. This is an 1884S in very fine condition VF. If this was uncirculated, it makes a huge jump in value from $80 to $1,000. This is a key date, but unfortunately it's polished in pretty bad condition. If this was like this, but not polished, it would be worth $250. This is a 1921 piece dollar, high relief, and unfortunately somebody polished it a long time ago. If they hadn't touched it, this would be a $300 coin. So as it is now, probably just silver value or just slightly above silver value. And this will be something that will be termed a placeholder in somebody's piece dollar collection. Peace dollars are from 1921 to 1935. The 21 is usually always missing in an intermediate collection. So somebody will want to buy it and pay a slight premium just to fill that spot. And then as better coins come along, coin collectors typically will upgrade. So let's have a look at these Morgans real quick, because we've got 4 feet of coins to get through, and see if we find anything that we can comment on real quick. 1921, 1921S circulated, 1879, that could be better, 1879S. So yeah, this sort of confirms my suspicion that these were accumulated rather than collected for their silver content rather than as collectible coins. But we could optimize 1 or 2 coins and get a better than silver bullion price. So these Morgans here that I've just breezed through, 1879-0, nice sort of highish grade coin. If it was a little more uncirculated than this, would tend to be a much better value, probably over the $1,000 range. And what we're going to do is, as we look through this collection, if there is a coin that we need to take the viewer's inherent discount, the margin of error, away, then we will send it out to get graded.
Oh, interesting.
So when you're looking at a raw coin, a coin that is
yes.
not graded by a third party, there is an inherent margin of error that the viewer factors into their buying decision. What third-party services do is they take that margin of error away. So this is a 1925 American commemorative coin, and it could be any grade. So if this was very fine, it might be worth $100. This is MS64 condition, so it's uncirculated, so it makes the jump from $50 to $300. So the same with your collection here. As we look through the collection and as we work on it, we're going to look for opportunities like this 1903, which we will seek to remove the inherent margin of error that the viewer will put on the coin when they make their buying decisions. So if things need to be sent out and graded and authenticated, that's what we'll do before we sell it. If it's just a common, this is what it is, and there's no question about it, and it can just be sold, like the common Morgans and like the bullion silver, then it will just go up and get sold immediately. But if there's work that needs to be done to extract whatever the opportunity is then that's where we come in. That's what you're paying our commission for. And the good news is that selling collectibles of any kind on the eBay marketplace is like going to the center of the universe for collectors. So, rather than sell this to a dealer, where a dealer necessarily needs to make a margin in order to run their business, selling this on eBay, you are becoming the retailer instantly, overnight. And you're doing that by leveraging our brand and by leveraging our customer base. And our brand brings value to the table in the number of years and the expertise that we have in order to extract this value. And the eBay marketplace brings millions of buyers. One of the beauties of eBay, aside from that, is the fact that there's no buyer's premium. So when a buyer makes a decision to buy this in an auction or from a dealer, he's paying the dealer's margin, or he's paying 18 or 20%, or even in some cases even more, to a traditional auction house. On eBay, that 18% goes directly to you. So what you pay us in a commission, once we can detail it for you, is far more advantageous than selling this in another venue where the buyer has to make a discount for that premium. So no buyer's premium on eBay is absolutely huge. So that was just this box. So now we have all these other boxes to go through. This is a virtually sealed box of special mint sets. Special mint sets were from 1966, 67. It is possible to break out some of these and get them graded if they look like they will meet the grade. So we just pulled up a bunch of stuff out of a box, and it's not unusual for us to be asked when looking at a pile of silver, is it worth face value? So let's see how much face value we have here. So we have 10, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, more 10s here. Oh, and there's more silver here. So these are Walking Liberty, $half, all silver, and they were issued from 1916 to 1947, and these are Franklin $half. So here you have approximately $250 in face value in silver. So if we want to know how much $250 in face value in silver is worth today, we would go to coinflation, and we're going to search for silver coin value. So $250 would be 500 $half of anything that's silver. So let's say we had 500 Franklins. At a minimum, will be worth $4,250. But there's various situations where things could be optimized here. We're not going to do that right this minute because that's going to take time. But the Kennedy $half have several different varieties, which could be a collectible premium. And if we find one in this roll, which he put away 30 years ago, 40 years ago, then that would be something that we would send out. There's a high likelihood that there isn't in these Kennedys, but there could be. These Franklin $half have a whole slew of different values depending on the year and depending on the condition. So this is just a plain Franklin half, but if it's uncirculated and it has full bell lines, it could be multiples of something that looks very innocuous and very innocent. Walking Liberty $half have several key dates and conditions. There aren't very many different varieties in walkers, but at an absolute minimum, if there's nothing to optimize in this group of silver, then $250 face value is $4,200. at today's price.
And before you mentioned about one of the coins being polished or not, so is it better not to touch them and leave them as is with the,
Patina
Right.
the
on them?
patina on them?
Right.
As opposed to, because I know there was one or two, I don't think we actually did it, but we're like, oh, try and wash that up, trying to get
But
the dirt
no.
off, but that's what you should not do.
Terrible idea.
Okay.
Terrible idea. No, you should never try to clean a coin. NGC has a conservation department that will conserve coins if they require conserving or if they would be improved with conservation. Conservation is a rich area of interest. There are things that you can do to alter a coin, but you need to leave that to the experts. And there are things that the experts can do to coins to make them look better and to improve their appearance, and it's perfectly legitimate to do that. So you got some more Morgans here, and we'll just have a quick look to browse through to see if there's any key dates or anything better. So these are in 2x2 windows. And normally, when you see coins in these things, it's because it might be a better coin or it might be a collector coin. But these, I think, are just going to fall into the category of he accumulated things for a minimum strategy of silver value. There are no key dates or conditions here. This is a group of Krugerrands, and they look well uncirculated, and they're all 1983s, and there are 10 of them. So each of these is 1 ounce gold. Let's see if they're real. And this is dead in the middle. Right. So these are more silver quarters that we are going to add up and arrive at what the silver value is. And once we do that, we will multiply it in the same way that we did with those guys. Washington quarters, 1932 does have a couple of key dates, a 32D and a 32S, which even in these low conditions would be worth quite a lot more than silver. But this is just a plain 32P Philadelphia, so that's just silver. In the way that we sell this kind of silver, we will be able to obtain a premium on eBay above the price of bullion, because collectors like to collect early issues of the various denominations. So a collector is going to pay above silver with us because they like collecting early Washington quarters or early walking liberties. The early walking liberties from the teens and early 20s will tend to make a premium above silver, whereas the 30s and 40s are more common. There are more of them produced. They're higher condition, and they tend to be more towards bullion price. But the early ones will be more collectible. These blue books are recent presidential dollars. Not a tremendous amount of value here. This is actually, so the interesting thing about this coin is that it's sitting in this
Tin.
cookie jar by itself. It's not protected. You got a $20 coin that's protected in a holder, and this was just sitting in the cookie jar, and these guys were on top. And this is a 1900S American $20 gold piece. This was uncirculated recently, and it barely uncirculated. It's what we would call a slider AU, which means it's a BU, commercial grade uncirculated. And that means that if you look at it, and even under low magnification, it seems uncirculated, but as you increase the magnification slightly, you'll see points of friction at the highest detail relief points. So it could pass as an uncirculated coin otherwise, but in all diligence, it has to be called a commercial grade, not quite uncirculated. But, a very attractive coin. So what do we do? Do we just sell it like this as a raw coin, ungraded, or do we get it graded? And now the grading company says, yeah, this is genuine, and it is definitely an MS-60 and not something else. We could do that, but the price differential isn't that great.
So the cost to have it graded
So the cost to have
eats
it
away
graded
at what any,
and the weight, right?
oh,
We would have to wait to send it out and then to get it back. That cost differential of a couple of $100 to $300 isn't substantial enough for us to say, okay, this is something that would benefit from grading. So with NobleSpirit selling it as a respected brand, we'll command that price anyway. And that is different than, somebody else going on the internet or on eBay and selling a $20 gold piece. So if this was a higher grade and had less bag marks, then we would say, yeah, I think this is a 63, because a 63 is a $4,000 coin and not a $2,000 coin. If I look at this closely and, and I determine, well, maybe this will make a 63, then we'll send it out. But if we're convinced that it's not going to be a 63, and that I'm right, that it is just a slider, then we can sell it the way it is. But that's just an example of the process that happens here. We'll pick up a coin like this that has potential, that has a window of opportunity, and it could be the difference between a $2,000 coin and a $4,000 coin. And that's something that you can never do yourself, obviously, because you could 50 years from now or 60 years from now. But today, that's what you're kind of paying us for. So we're going to put this in a
special sleeve, so there's no more damage.
Honestly, no more scratches.
Unbelievable.
No more bag marks. And I don't know. I mean, I'll have a closer look at it. We're just looking at things very quickly here. And this looks like an ounce of gold. And this is Engelhart, a very respected brand. So that's another $2,000 right there.
Unbelievable. But it's a treasure hunt, isn't it, sometimes?
It is a treasure hunt. Like, for example, these nickels, they're Jeffersons, but if they were Buffalo nickels, then you want to spend a little time looking at them, because there's a lot more varieties in Buffalo nickels that have become of interest to collectors than what there used to be. A lot of double die obverse, double die reverse, double dates, double lettering. And then this bag, you said, had 126 Kennedy halves. So they all look like 64s. So what did you think this was worth?
I don't remember when we were looking up, maybe $8 each or something.
$8 or $12 each, I can't remember.
So if we go back to coinflation, and we want to know how much 126 64 Kennedy halves. So this is $1,065.97.
Wow.
And then, as we discussed with everything else, what do? There are some 64 varieties that we can look for,
Right.
but not too many, so that won't take too long. But we'll check them, and if there were some in really high grade, then they would command a collectible premium. The Krugrands, although there's duplicity there and they're all the same, they're not going to conflict. So we can put up a reasonable amount of Krugrands, all of them within a week. The same thing with these rolls. On eBay, there's enough of a buyer base hungry for bullion, gold, silver, platinum, and these folks have a limitless supply of interest and disposable funds to buy bullion and put it away. And if it's presented properly, they will pay a premium. So, just as a rough estimate, it looks like 25, 30,000.
$30,000, yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. We'll get started on this
Okay.
right away. You'll probably see things start going up next week.
Oh my gosh.
You'll start getting emails next week, so just enjoy.